Good evening. We're going to stay a little off format again tonight. Mostly what I predicted 2 or 3 days ago has already happened. The market pulling back. I thought it pulled back and revisit the low or the trend line, the little short-term trend line we do a couple of nights ago, and it took that out here to close. Not by much. It's sitting right there below that level. SP 500 is technically sitting on my lower pivot line right at the close. Now that ain't a support line by any means. It's just normally where I expect them to go to, but that's in more normal conditions than we are now. If we open above that little tiny trend line I drew a couple of days ago and hold it, then we could get a good bounce. Right now this market's not any good for setting up swing trades. It's just good for day trading, and it ain't real good for that. You got to get the market. You better be trading with the market, and you just got to pick those little market bounces and so forth to find your spot and wait on those to happen. I do expect the market, if it doesn't gap up in the morning and hold this spot right here on this little trend line, basically 2 day ago's low in the morning, then we're probably going to be open below this level and go back up and test it from the bottom side and fail it again, and probably headed down and test the 200 day, which is not that far below us here. And then I got a bigger trend line we'll look at that's a little bit below the 200 day that goes way back, so we'll look at that in a minute too. We'll show the watch list, just what came up here today. Not that it carries a lot of merit because you don't want to enter any chase anything right now. We'll do the little tutorial and then we'll look at some charts and look at those trend lines. Thanks for watching. Before we get into looking at the watch list and the intro, the tutorial, we're going to take a look at the market here real quick. I drew this little mini trend line on the weekly a couple 3 days ago, and I said we're going to come back and visit this again. It's a weekly chart. We'll get on the daily in just a second. Then I've gone down and drawn another lot bigger deal trend line here going back into February 2016, extending up here, and this looks like probably won't happen tomorrow, but this trend line as it comes on up will be, to me, what's going to be in play. And right now, early next week, it probably meet real close to this target one of mine I have, which I can't tell you exactly what that level is. I can try to get my mouse pretty close to there, right around the 25.75 area, which is real close to where we are now. That's not a huge sell-off there to do that. Here's your daily chart. Other day right here, I said this is gonna after this downtrend this day and the bounce, I said we're gonna go back and revisit this. That's when we put this trend line. Well, we took that out today, took out that low, took out that trend line. Now here's some things that could happen. One, I doubt very seriously this is going to bounce and head way back up here without doing some more dancing around. We could gap down in the morning, hit this trend line, which is just above, I think it's actually below the 200. Looks like it's above the 200 right there. I have another one drawn that is below the 200. Looks like that on one of my other charts over here. It might have went even further back. Then I drew this one on the weekly. I think I probably drew it on the daily. There's some more room down here. This kind of lines up with this pink line and the 200 right here, the way it looks on the daily. That's all the way down in the 25, looks like here at about 41 area. The 200 is actually 25.38. We're probably getting really close to that. If we gap down tomorrow and we bounce right off of that, we could get a nice day trading day. But I expect this thing, even if it bounces, to come back down at least to here again, if not back to here again in the next several sessions. tomorrow you can never tell. If we get a bounce up above this level, which is going to be back above that low from a couple of days ago, 25.93, and we get a quick revisit right on this trend line, we could get a bounce and a nice running kind of day. I bet it sells off before the day's over, but even if it stays up there, I still think next week we're coming back at least to one of these lines before we really go out and do anything special. I'll pull the SPY up, show you similar lines on that. I like to use the Dow. This is the same line on the SPY, drawn back from the same places on the weekly. And then on the Dow, I can't type. Oh, I typed wrong. That's it right here. That's just a little trend line I had drawn on the intraday. We can get that out of the way. This is what I was talking about yesterday, these rejecting the 50s, and that kind of candle there, you know, indicative exactly what we got today as an answer to that type candle. That is what happens. The trend line on the Dow is way down here, and it don't go back as far for the beginning point as the S&P does. But this is going back a pretty good ways on the weekly. Where I drew this at. Guess it'd be easier for you to see on the weekly. I took this last pivot low, which pretty much represents this line down here, and extended this up into this weekly. And that's that line you're kind of seeing on the daily there. They get a little in sync when you switch them over, but that brings this all the way down into this area here. 21.8. That's a long way from here. That's a serious pullback. It's probably a 50% retracement. This is the 50 week, so I don't anticipate that getting this far down, but that's possible if it really loses it. But I'm thinking we're going to do to the Dow kind of like I'm thinking on the S&P. We're going to get in here around the 200 day and probably hold this. But we'll see what the days bring. Let's take a look at the watch list here. Even though I don't think they matter a whole lot about anything, you had a grub, a big day today, big action day off of earnings, and same thing on this little stock here, off of earnings. The daily bear list gets bigger and bigger. There's 192 stocks on that, so we're not going to be looking at many charts just because we don't want to be here all night. You don't want to be chasing stuff, and most of these are recrosses. Like this right here, perfect example. It already crossed the bear zone way up here, recalculated as it went down, and now it recrossed it today. You know, you're still swing trading, so these might be good short watches for in the morning, but I really think you just let it settle in and see what you can find, but it's not setting up for any kind of swing trading. I'll show you this whole list while we're on here. So you can pause the video and you can see how bad down these stocks were. Of course, you're able to do that on your own platform. Monster list. And it's exactly what you expect to see, but most of these, like I said, they already been on the list before. They're just making lower lows now, so it's all a chase at this point, unless you got some kind of earnings play you're looking at that's affected by its own situation. I'm gonna get to this thing where you can actually pause the video and get a good look at this whole list. And like I said, there won't be many bull breaks showing you reversals on this stuff. What I mentioned yesterday, there's your weekly bull break, one stock, and your weekly bear break's got quite a list on it too on the weekly charts. Like I keep saying, this is nothing to go chasing. No point in chasing anything down here. Let this market figure out what it wants to do, and then we'll find some trades. The best bounce plays right now, a lot of my other alerts that run off my factors, they're just day trading setups because we got so much range in these stocks every day that what was a F50 or an F100 would be a swing trade on some of these stocks. These F50s are now day trades, and they set back up and go back and forth. So be a few more days for all that settles in, and we'll probably put out some higher factor alerts. Probably come in with some F125s, maybe even some F200s if I can get some good readings, and start trying to push it out and separate it out so you can pick up some of these trades as they come off the bottom as the market recovers in the next couple of weeks. I'm not going to look at the charts tonight, so I'm just going to really keep this short. There's just too many to look at, and they all look alike. There's no, you got a good look at the list here, and you can pause it and get a look and pull up your charts, but just keep in mind the overall conditions. We're just going to keep this short. You got a list there you can take a look at and figure out what you'd like to do. Appreciate you watching the video, and we'll see where tomorrow leads us. Subscribe to our channel while you're here. Follow us on Twitter and StockTwits. Thanks for watching. While you're here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and follow us on Twitter or StockTwits at Daytrader Setups. And our website is daytradersetups.com and swingtradersetups.com. Don't forget, this video is being brought to you by our premium alerts at swingtradersetups.com. They're real-time alerts. They're posted on our website, and we're looking at our bull zone weekly and daily breakouts, and our bear zone weekly and daily breakouts that are in one category on the website. And there are other categories that are more aggressive for the more active trader as well. And by having a subscription to that service, you get all these alerts intraday as they happen, and one subscription gets you access to everything, as well as our chart system. If you would like to get it, I can set you up a couple of different ways to have the green and pink lines available for your charts as you review. Let's go forward.